Harry and Meghan were at Diddy freak-off parties and were taped?
Prince Harry's name has been mentioned in court documents related to allegations Sean Diddy Combs sexually abused multiple people.
I feel this situation just got worse. I don't know if you guys know this. So, everybody's seen the video. I'm pretty sure everybody's...
As Sean Diddy Combs sits behind bars awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking and racketeering charges, we take a deep dive into the growing list of high-profile celebrities charged with sexual misconduct.
All right, let me spill the latest tea on Prince Harry that's got everyone buzzing. Word is, our favorite redhead has been living a bit of a secret life, and it's not looking good. New videos have surfaced showing Harry partying it up at Diddy's famous events, and these clips, let's just say they're the kind of thing that would make the Queen gasp. Now, it seems like Harry is in full-on panic mode, sweating over what could be revealed next. These aren't just ordinary party pics. These videos show some compromising situations that could seriously rock the royal family. He's been trying to keep everything hidden, but we all know what happens when secrets come out. And trust me, this one's making a lot of noise.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. I hope you guys did have your lunch, because the idea of this is so gross. Now, I don't believe this. I know a lot of you probably want to believe this. I know we think she's done a lot in her past, but Harry doing it with Meghan and Diddy? That's a lot to believe. Now, there's a spin to this article. Now, Jaguar Wright is someone who has reported on the Diddy stuff. If you haven't been following the Diddy case, you should be following it over on Popcorn Planet. It's getting intense. Everybody is being sort of accused, complicit. These tapes are now being shopped around Hollywood. It's bad news. In fact, we have a live later today where apparently 100+ new victims are coming forward. Make sure not to miss it. We'll be live probably at the time you're taping this. Come over to Popcorn Planet and watch us. Now, this article is getting spinned by Radar saying that Meghan and Harry are overjoyed at the royals being dragged into this Diddy scandal, even though they were added into it as well. But they're sort of avoiding that and saying, well, it's Prince Andrew in the freak-off tape is the one that's real. Now, it's easy to sort of assume that if you heard the previous allegations against Prince Andrew. And I know a lot of people have come forward sort of starting to defend him, saying these accusers that were there calling him out actually haven't been honest. At the same time, it's hard to defend Prince Andrew after that interview where he just keeps denying his relationship with Jeffrey. It's gross. It's a bad look. I don't trust the guy. I know what happened. To each their own. He hasn't been charged, but something seems off. That said, I wouldn't be surprised if he was caught in a freak-off tape with Diddy. It is a similar sort of friend, Jeffrey and Diddy, similar types of people, as we're learning. And Radar Online is now revealing that Duke and Duchess are apparently planning to use Andrew's alleged ties to Diddy to justify their decision to leave the firm and turn their backs on the royal family. I mean, they already left the firm. They've already turned their backs. They don't need Prince Andrew's freak-off tape to justify it, but let's hear it. An insider tells us Harry and Meghan have spent years being vilified by the royal family. Now it's being alleged that Prince Andrew could be facing yet another scandal. They are rubbing their hands in glee. They're called out too, though. So if you want to just believe the Andrew part, well, then you got to believe the part that says you're in it too. And that's what it actually says. Jaguar Wright lifted the lid off who she believes might be featured in these rumored freak-off tapes. She listed more than a dozen names, ranging from Jennifer Lopez to Usher. She claimed most people will be most shocked by the politicians and royal family members she alleges were caught on camera attending Diddy's illicit parties. She said, quote, "I think what will shock people are the politicians and the royals that were on that tape. And I'm still trying to figure out when Harry and Meghan are going to be honest about their freak-off tape."
You might be wondering, how wild could these parties really be? Well, honey, Diddy's bashes are famous for a reason, and Prince Harry was right in the heart of it all. These aren't your average get-togethers. Imagine parties that make Las Vegas look like a quiet afternoon with the Queen. Picture this: champagne flowing like it's tap water, celebrities mixing with ease and rules. Well, they're non-existent. We're talking about mansions so grand, they feel like palaces, music so loud you could hear it a mile away, and luxury everywhere. That's the world Harry was stepping into. And trust me, he wasn't just standing in the corner. He was living it up like he'd never worn a crown in his life. But what really has people talking is the guest list. We're talking about rappers, models, actors, and some surprising faces. Royalty rubbing elbows with all kinds of famous folks. And as for the activities, Let's just say they weren't playing board games or sipping tea. There are rumors of dance-offs, wild private room antics, and possibly even some extra fun to keep the energy going. So how did Harry end up in this scene? Word is, ever since stepping back from royal duties, he's been craving a taste of the wild side. No more fancy palace dinners or charity events. And who better to show him the ropes than Diddy, the king of parties himself?
Keeping my lunch in. Oh God! So the last thing I want to watch is that ginger in a tape like that. No offense to gingers out there. Anyway, sorry. Let me move on. Wright continued, I don't think anybody really wants to talk about the fact that the royal family had many times at the Diddy parties, especially that weirdo uncle. Despite her claims, it's believed Harry and Meghan have never met Diddy. Look, this is the reality. There's been no proof. Harry and William met Diddy and Kanye at a Diana memorial event. The pictures have always been out there. But there's no proof that they ever actually went to any parties. Neither has Meghan, that we can prove. There's also no suggestion of any figures right, left in the video have been involved in any wrongdoing. Still, insiders have been rocked by the celebs and they're quaking in their boots. It's true. A lot of celebrities are getting worried. In a 2011 appearance in the Graham Norton show, the disgraced mogul said he hoped to have Harry and William as guests at one of his infamous bashes, implying that they hadn't been there since 2011. Diddy said at the time, before, when they were young bucks growing up and they were getting into a lot of trouble themselves. So, hey, I was like, why don't you come hang out with me? Trust me, they're on the list. I think they meant to say on the list. Why would they be off the list if you're inviting them? Harry and William were once seen together with Diddy in 2007. That's in the images that have gone around. But that was at the Princess Diana Memorial Concert. They were performing. It was in the Wembley Arena. It wasn't at a Diddy freak-off party. It's not believed either of the princes have ever made it to one of Diddy's parties. Now, that's where a lot of you are going to just disagree with me. You're going to say, oh, no, they were, Andy, they were. Look, it's possible, I guess. It's possible, but I need more proof before I go there. Even with Prince Andrew. Yeah, I don't like Prince Andrew. He's an idiot to me. Just an absolute bozo. That interview, the scooped interview, oh my gosh, was it with Matthias? What was her name? It's the tough watch. He looked so guilty in that interview. So clueless. There have been a couple movies now about that making of that interview, and it's just, what a bozo. That said, some of the allegations that have come forward, it doesn't seem like have been completely honest. Does that mean he's completely innocent? I mean, he is innocent until proven guilty, but would I want to defend his honor fully? No, I wouldn't. Am I going to go criticize him further? No, it is what it is. It is, what else can we do? Would I be surprised to see him though at a Diddy party, given how close he was with Jeffrey? No, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Now, her calling him the weirdo uncle, not proof. This idea that, and to quote her, if Harry and Meghan want to gleefully rub their hands saying that, oh, Prince Andrew's now in another scandal, well, so are you. Because the same source said, I'm still trying to figure out when Harry and Meghan are going to be honest about their freak-off tape. How would you have known about that? This person seems to be out there just saying names. And I'm all for, making speculation from time to time if there's a connection. But I don't see any connection. As much as I would love to put my fingers in glee at seeing Harry and Meghan be exposed in that kind of way, because I feel like they are charlatans and so on. I just don't see any proof, guys. I don't see any proof that they would go do that. And the idea of it is not only gross, but just seems so unrealistic that Harry would join Meghan at a yacht party, let alone a Diddy party. And then what? It's too much for me. I know a lot of you don't like these two, but it's too much for me. But this is the rumors that are now heading out there. So, do I believe they're enjoying when the royal family gets, put through the coals? Absolutely. Do I think they're overjoyed when they get dragged into these scandals? Yes, they clearly do. They created their own scandals and lies to drag them over the coals then. So, of course, they would be into that. Not surprised at that part of it, but it's weird that they would be overjoyed by a source saying Andrew was there, but the same source mentioned they're there, and they're just like, well, we weren't there, but Andrew, yeah, that one's real. They're either both real or it's not real, and this person doesn't know what she's talking about. That's the reality here. So I do find it interesting that, apparently they believe, according to the source, that Andrew's there and the source is telling the truth. And if the source is telling the truth, well, then it sounds like you were there too. So what do you guys think? That's what I want to hear. Do you really think it's possible that these two would have made a freak-off tape with Diddy at one of his parties? Or is it too much for you?
Now, Here's where things get really spicy. These videos, they're not just your typical party clips. We're talking about compromising moments that could have Buckingham Palace in full panic mode. Imagine Harry letting loose in ways that would make his grandmother clutch her pearls. This footage isn't just about him having a good time. It could shatter his just a regular guy image, and trust me, it's a game changer. This isn't just some fun party scandal. If these videos drop, they could rock Harry's entire new life in America. Think about it. He's been working hard to rebrand himself as this thoughtful, family-focused guy. But if these videos leak, it could be goodbye to all those lucrative deals, and hello to serious damage control. Now, here's a little sneak peek of what's got Harry sweating bullets. One of the videos apparently shows him in a wild dance-off with a mystery woman. And no, it wasn't any slow waltz. We're talking moves that would make even a pro dancer blush. And believe me, that's just the beginning.
Front page of the Sun today. He's making headlines there. He's been named in a U.S. court documents relating to the rapper P. Diddy, whose real name is Sean Combs.
Yeah, the court documents filed in the US mention guests were drawn to Combs's alleged sex trafficking parties because of his so-called access to celebrities and international dignitaries, which included the likes of Prince Harry.
Let's go to Royal and Showbiz reporter Kinsey Schofield on this one. So Harry's been named. What will this mean for him and his wife?
Well, I have to be honest with you. It looks like Prince Harry's being thrown under the bus here. And, you know, I'm willing to criticize Prince Harry when it's appropriate. If you want to talk about his African Parks charity, I've got all day. But in this particular case, it seems like the accuser here, who is a producer named Rodney Lil Rod Jones, who filed this $30 million lawsuit in February, is trying to get attention by dropping some of these bigger names like Prince Harry's into this documentation, trying to say that Prince Harry gave P. Diddy credibility. Now, the only time Prince Harry and P. Diddy are photographed together is in 2007 at an event honoring Princess Diana. The last time I could find Sean Combs talking about Prince Harry is in 2011 during a Graham Norton interview where he's joking, and he clearly has no relationship with him. There's no proof that Prince Harry has nurtured any type of relationship with Sean P. Diddy Combs. And as somebody that's worked for Diddy, I can assure you that he doesn't need Prince Harry when it comes to, you know, any sort of cool points over the years. I've never seen him have to name drop. He was always Diddy.
Rewind a minute there. You worked for him or with him?
Yeah, I threw a party for him for Ciroc vodka. And, you know, I never had any issues with him. I'm very lucky in that regard. I don't have anything negative to say about him. Obviously, these accusations are appalling, but I'm a good girl. So he probably knew not to do anything like that around me. But, you know, this is all over the news here. He is accused of sex trafficking and multiple sex assault lawsuits, with raids on multiple houses on Monday by Homeland Security, with them seizing electronics and interviewing 4 Jane Does and 1 John Doe, the New York prosecutors, in connection with sex trafficking and a racketeering investigation. So similar to R. Kelly, and very serious allegations.
It's interesting you were talking about the picture that Prince Harry was photographed next to P. Diddy. I think Prince William's also in that picture, and interesting that he's managed to completely avoid being mentioned in all this just as well, given what's going on for him at the moment. But I wonder why this particular claimant has gone after or decided to pick on Prince Harry, sorry.
I think it's because Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are headline grabbers all over the world, and it's guaranteed press. It's going to guarantee that you'll end up on the cover of the Sun, and I think ultimately this accuser is looking for a payday. And I'm not saying that P. Diddy's innocent. I don't know what the truth is here, but I can tell you, based on past experience with his ex-girlfriend Cassie, he settled that. I believe it was just one day after that court filing, when it came to a 2017 chef that alleged that P. Diddy was inappropriate with her. He settled that 2 years later. So he has a history of settling these cases. You know, blow this up and you could potentially get a great payday. So of course you're going to want this splashed across all the newspapers, and Prince Harry is a great way to do that.
Well, I think it's great talking to you, having worked with him, having knowing how his name is pronounced, as I was pronouncing it this morning and told I was wrong. It's spelt Combs, as in a comb through your hair. It should be pronounced, if it was in Ireland, it would be Combs. But here, the young folks say what, Isabel?
I thought Coombs, so I checked with the youngsters in the newsroom. They were all like Coombs. But maybe they're too young to really know about Diddy as well.
Or stupid.
If you thought those dance moves were wild, wait until you hear this. Word is, Harry's in full panic mode, trying everything to bury these videos. He's making late-night calls to tech experts, meeting with PR pros, and maybe even using royal muscle to keep them from leaking. But can he really erase it all? Once it's online, it's tough to take back. And the royal family? They're not happy. King Charles is furious, and there's talk the palace might step in to help. But that'll cost Harry his independence. As for his new life in America, these videos could ruin the woke royal image he and Meghan have built. Expect canceled deals and some tough conversations at home. Meghan's probably giving him the side eye right now.
Man, anybody who in law enforcement or people know the law, when Homeland Security ran up into his house, people will tell you, or people knew that it was just a matter of time that they was going to indict him and bring him in to see the judge, bro. It was just a matter of time. I just figured out with the grand jury and their different sessions and stuff like that, and then what one of the witnesses told me, I just figured it out that it was going to be around September that they were going to bring him in, bro. People might not understand. It's difficult when you see a brother that has so much promise become an icon as far as in the music business and stuff that he did, to turn around and just tear his whole life down. But it's all because of his mentors and the people that trained him and taught him the music business. You know, it's all about the people who trained and taught him the music business, because Puff wasn't, he wasn't born a monster. You know what I'm saying? He was made into a monster, brother. Do you understand what I'm saying? He was made into a monster from the stuff that happened to him, the things that he had to do. You understand? The things that he had to do to become who he is. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's like this, brother. You never like something so much that you can't do without, and you never be willing to do anything to get where you want to be at. You got to have principles. You got to have morals. You got to keep with that stuff. And in that music business, a lot of that stuff get thrown out the window. You understand? And that's what happened to him. He started doing the things to other people that was done to him. To keep it frank, he was doing the things to other people that was done to him. And it is what it is. You got to know better. And if you know better, you will do better. When he was in New York City, he was like that gecko from the Geico commercial. Then he turned and started going, when he lived in Cali and Miami, he turned into Godzilla. I would see him talk about how he using drugs. He was never like that. Smoking cigarettes, smoking weed and everything like that. He turned into something that you could consider a monster, bruh. Then he started doing things to people, you understand, that he learned. That's a learned behavior, bruh. Now, I'm not saying that he may have been doing a couple of things here and there with women, stuff like that in New York, but the things that there's talking about that he was doing, bringing in prostitutes to have sex with his girl and all that stuff like that, that was some crazy stuff to me, man. So I'm just looking at this whole thing, man, and you had asked me, and we don't have these conversations like most people do. We're going to go back and you're going to tell me what, we're going to talk about this. You said, I'm going to ask you how you feel, bro. I don't want no man to ever go to jail and be leaving their kids behind, be leaving their family behind. You understand? But some dudes belong in jail based on what they do and how they do it. We know that to be true. And it's just this situation, man, when they get down to all the facts and all what happened, he may belong in jail, bruh. And that's not my doing. That's not Cassie doing. That's his doing and his learned behavior from the people that mentored him. You got to realize, man, he learned from Andre Harrell. He learned from Russell Simmons. He learned from Clyde Davis. You understand? When those people are telling you that they were heavy into the drugs, they was heavy into beating women and doing things at that age, at that crazy stage, that's going to make him think that he could get away with the same thing that they was getting away with back then. You understand? The things that he was saying, you know, the touchy-feely between two men and all that stuff like that, man. All that, he learned that from them dudes. When I told y'all the story, when me and my man went up to Russell Simmons and he had a house and he had a man in bikini drawers in his bedroom, in his bed. You understand? Bruh, this is that he learned. I'm assuming he learned it from them. Let me put that. And I'm not going to say alleged because I saw that for my own self. My man was with me, Slick was with me, and we saw that for our own self. You understand what I'm saying? So these are behaviors and things that with drugs and all the stuff that's going on, pills, drinking, it can make this man into a monster, and that's what it did, bruh. It made him into a monster, bruh.
Legal team is on high alert too. Harry's lawyers are likely working overtime, firing off cease and desist letters, claiming copyright infringement and privacy violations. But can they really stop the internet from doing its thing? It's a mess. Harry's team is probably cooking up some damage control, maybe calling it a youthful mistake or blaming it on bad influences, but let's be honest. Harry knew exactly what he was doing at Diddy's mansion. Here's the real tea. Buckingham Palace isn't messing around. They called an emergency meeting to handle this situation. The royals are worried these videos could seriously hurt the monarchy's reputation, so it's crisis mode. They might even bring Harry back into the fold to keep him on a tighter leash. And as for those videos, the dance-off is just the beginning. There are rumors of Harry doing things that could make even the wildest partygoers blush. Is it drugs, a girl, or something even crazier? The suspense is real.
He got a lot of the things that he did from his mentor, and then he probably did it to the 10th power. You understand? Russell Simmons admitted that he was a drug abuser. You understand? Russell Simmons admitted that he used to put his hands on women. So it's a learned behavior, bruh. Some of that stuff may be in him through his childhood. Through his childhood, he may have some of that things in him, but a lot of things that he was doing was a learned behavior, bruh. You just don't just turn it in a matter of years the way he was doing people, man. You understand? Check this out, bro. He led Biggs to his death. He caused a rift between Wolf and BMF that led to Wolf death. Cussed Wolf mother out. Lied about owing him $300,000. Cause you had asked me how I feel, and I'm gonna get into how I feel. Took a good friend of ours who raised money when he had the City College tragedy. A good friend of ours did things to make him popular in Harlem. Let him hang with us, be part of our crew the whole 9 yards. Disrespected him and wouldn't help him. This is how I feel about him being locked up and going to jail. Some people, their karma is so strong for what they do and what they did. The stuff that he did to Craig Mack. You understand what I'm saying? The stuff that he did to Black Rob and all those people in the spiritual world right now. His karma was about to catch up. It was bound to catch up with him. You understand what I'm saying? His karma was bound to catch up with him, brother. So all these things that's going on right now, the learned behavior, what he got from these people who was not living spiritually correct with their behaviors and the things that they've done. He go and transfer and do that to people with the fact of all these people that he's hurt, that always helped him and been on his side and been there for him. What's happening to him now is one of the greatest tragedies that we're going to ever read about, bruh. This is going to be one of the greatest tragedies that Shakespeare couldn't write in Richard. He couldn't write it in Macbeth. He couldn't write this shit in Romeo and Juliet. This is going to be one of the greatest tragedies of hip hop, along with Pac's death, along with Big's death. And he brought it on himself because he knew that he was wrong, and he knew that he learned something that wasn't right. He know different from right and wrong, bruh. You have a way to change. You know when something is right and when something is wrong, and you know if you're wrong, you get help. He didn't choose none of that, bruh. He chose to be who he is, and now he gonna learn. It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun.
Hold up, what if these videos are just the tip of the iceberg? Word on the street is Harry's got more skeletons in his closet than a haunted house, and if they come out, this could be a total game changer for the royal family. This scandal could be the breaking point for our favorite ginger prince. First, let's talk about that public image he's worked so hard to build, his whole socially conscious, woke royal thing. Yeah, that could go up in flames faster than a Kardashian makeup sale. These videos might turn Harry from everyone's favorite rebel prince to just another rich guy gone wild, and you know how quickly the public can turn. 1 minute you're on top, and the next, you're old news. But it's not just about his image. This could hit Harry where it hurts the most, his wallet. All those fancy deals and projects he's been working on, they might vanish fast. Brands don't want to be linked to scandals, especially ones involving wild parties and compromising situations. Now, let's talk about the real tea. How will this affect things with Meghan?
My thoughts reading the 14-page indictment yesterday were that there are a lot of people in Hollywood who are probably worried about which Diddy parties they were at and what was going on. That's not to say that they were necessarily even involved in any of the things that are alleged by the U.S. Attorney's Office. But if you're at that party and it turns out that that's when he set up one of these freak-off sex parties, or that it was going on in another room and you didn't know about it, there's a good chance that you're going to be called by the U.S. Attorney's Office. And certainly if you were involved, you would get a call because they're going to want to know everything you want to know and may even want you to be a witness. I just think, we're just starting to scratch the surface of what this case, this case is going to touch and involve. And the feds have said that this remains an open investigation. There could be more charges for Diddy. There could be more charges for other people involved. And usually the way this works is once they find out other people are involved or were witnesses, they bring them in and they sort of lean on them. And it's sort of like, you're going to cooperate with us, or there's a possibility that you could face charges. So this is going to be a slow developing a case here because we're just getting started. And I don't see how this trial begins anytime before next year.
There are a lot of wild allegations in those documents that came out yesterday, including 1,000 bottles of baby oil. What surprised you the most about what you read yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, that, Brian, was was definitely an alarming graph of the indictment when you read that when they raided, I believe it was the Miami home where they found 1,000 bottles of, and they said that these were items that were used at the freak-offs. There were also large amounts of drugs, they said, cocaine, ketamine, Molly, GHB, the rape drug. So, they said that the house, according to the feds, that was stocked for these parties that were going on. And then to read their description of how Diddy, as they say, lured women into joining these parties. And they say that he would meet them or lure them, get to know them and lure them in, thinking they would think that there was going to be a romantic relationship with him. And then it would turn out that they would be at these freak-offs where they would be forced to have, or drugged and forced to have sex with male prostitutes that he was bringing in. And that's one of the counts that he's facing also, is the transportation of individuals for a purpose of prostitution. So really alarming allegations laid out in court. Diddy, of course, has pled not guilty to all of it. And then the real kicker for him at the end of the day was that the judge said, you will be held without bail. And that means however long it takes for this trial to begin, he will be in a federal detention facility in Brooklyn, and not a very nice one. In fact, a fairly notorious one. So you got to figure it. He wants out of there, and he wants out as soon as possible.
And don't even get me started on how this will play out back in Britain. The Brits have been side-eyeing Harry ever since he left Royal Life, and this just gives them more ammo. The British press will have a field day questioning everything about Harry, his character, his choices, even his ability to be a father. It's going to be open season on him. But here's where it gets interesting. This scandal might actually bring Harry closer to the royal family. I know it sounds crazy, right? But hear me out. If things get really bad, Harry might need the palace to help clean up his mess. And you know the royals love to keep their dirty laundry hidden. We could see a prodigal son moment with Harry crawling back to Daddy Charles for help. Now, here's the exclusive tea. I've got sources saying that Harry and Meghan are feeling the pressure behind closed doors. They're barely sleeping, constantly on edge, waiting for the next bombshell to drop. Their phones are blowing up with calls from concerned friends and angry advisors. It's like they're living in a pressure cooker, and something's got to give. But here's the million-dollar question. Could this actually be good for Harry in the long run? I know it sounds wild, but hear me out. If he plays his cards right, this could be his chance to reinvent himself. If he owns up to his mistakes and turns this into a redemption story, he can make a big comeback. The public loves a good comeback, and Harry's always been able to charm his way out of tough situations.